My country people them. Today, Saturday, number 6th day for April 2024, we will talk about the United Nations Charter, Article 76. But first, una listen and then I will talk after.
Here is a country which, for good or for ill, happens to have found itself colonized simultaneously by two European powers, Great Britain on the one part, France on the other part, following upon the termination of the colonization of this same territory by one European power, namely Germany, as a consequence of the division of German spoils at the end of the First and subsequently Second World Wars. So a territory formerly colonized by Germany alone subsequently became divided between Great Britain and France. And both territories were prepared under the terms of Article 76 of the UN Charter, which set up the trustship system. Both were prepared, as with all other trust territories, for self-government and subsequently independence. It's important to underscore that point. The United Nations should therefore, in pursuance of its obligation under the UN Charter, and acting through the administrative authorities who grip the United Kingdom on the one hand and France on the other hand have prepared these two territories for self-government and independence. And effectively, that is what they did. Great Britain said, towards the end of the year 1958 and the beginning of the year 1959, we can certify that the territory of southern Cameroons under our administration is ripe for self-government and for independence. The French, on the other side, on the other hand, made the same certification with respect to their territory. And both of these territories should therefore have acceded to sovereignty as two equal, separate, and independent states. However, bearing in mind that the two, although creations of colonialism like every other African nation state, had at one time been administered together under the Germans, thus creating what came to be called the Cameroon idea. It was felt by the nationalists in both territories at the time, on the eve of independence, at least on the eve of the termination of the trustship agreements, that the two should come back together, form one union.
So if you scroll through Facebook and the public discourse amongst Anglophones them, you go hear about Article 76B of the United Nations Charter and even Resolution 1608 of the General Assembly. It mentioned Article 76B of the Charter of the United Nations, how the trustship agreement it could be terminated for paragraph 4. So today we go dive more into this Article 76B where they always talk about for give we a greater understanding and then for dispel the myth and also for correct our history, for note the lies, but most importantly, the facts and the truth about this history, about these documents and where people they always quote them. Now, we will read the exact text of the United Nations Charter Article 76 for una, and then we will elaborate. So my country people them, this video now for 1995, when we John Foncha, Dr. Simon Munzu, and Barrister Ekon Tang and ST Muna, the SCNC, they will go for America, where they will go try for campaign for United Nations for can intervene inside Cameroon. But when I know the rest of the story, and I said they reach for there, they fail. So now they come back for Cameroon, they can't decide for lie to the Anglophone population. But I want for focus on where the way Dr. Simon Munzu talk about Article 76 of the UN Charter. It talks that UN Charter, Article 76, where it create the Trusteeship Council and the Trusteeship Agreements them, their job is being for prepare the trust territories them for self-government and independence. But is that what the actual Charter, Article 76, says? The answer is no. So either Dr. Simon Munzu be being mistaken, or it no be concise and clear with the words them. So we go read the actual words and the actual text of the UN Charter Article 76 for get clarity on where they write them, because words matter. If you change just one word in a sentence, if it change the whole context and the whole meaning of that sentence. So make we read them. So my country people them, I dey always show una which way I dey get all my documents them and the evidence where I dey provide them for una. So if una go for Google or any search engine, just type for the UN Charter 76. Just that, type and search am, and you go see say it go bring una this link. Make sure say you dey now for the right official website of the United Nations, un.org. So that article, it says Article 76 of the United Nations Charter, okay? Access that link and then it will give you the actual Article 76 of the United Nations Charter. Now in that on the screen where it don't load. My country people them. So all where you need for do now for zoom am in so that when I see am and then when I read the actual text of the UN Charter Article 76. Now in this. So I go read them for una. Any person, if you go for Google, you type them, and you will get exactly the same information while go read them for una, and then it will examine them for himself or herself. So now all this about Article 76 of the UN Charter. Article 76B. Now that one that way the Anglophones they always quote them. So Article 76 talks say the basic objectives of the trustship system in accordance with the purpose of the United Nations laid down in Article 1 of the present Charter shall be A. To further international peace and security. B. To promote the political, economic, social, and educational advancement of the inhabitants of the trust territories and their progressive development towards self-government or independence. Now the actual text of the United Nations Charter this. So now for day way me I get problem with way Anglophones that always talk am and way Dr. Simon Munzu talk am. Ma explain for una. The actual United Nations Charter Article 76B, it talks say now for prepare those territories towards self-government or independence. It no talk say and independence. It talk say or independence. Because now why do I talk say it be very important for bear or pay attention to the words where they write them down and not wait where you think or you believe say they mean. Because they write them down clearly. They say self-government or independence. They don't talk say self-government and independence. Because now wait that way Anglophones that they talk am say self-government and independence, but no now wait that way the United Nations it write am. So as I be talk am, they say the particular circumstances of each territory and its peoples and the freely expressed wishes of the peoples concerned. Now why that way they began the plebiscite of 11th of February 1961 to get the wishes of the peoples concerned in the British Cameroons. Okay, once their wishes, they will get their wishes, say they want to join the Francophone Cameroon, and then like they talk as maybe provided by the terms of each trustship agreement. So maybe when I understand, say, they will get 11 trust territories them, and each of the 11 trustship agreements them, it will be unique to that particular territory. So it not they like say they will write one trustship agreement and then just rub off the name Cameroon, they write Togo or Togoland. No. Or they wipe the name Togoland and then they write Tanganyika. No. It will be now a different trustship agreement for Tanganyika, a different trustship agreement for the Cameroons under British administration, a totally different trustship agreement for the Cameroons under French administration. So each trustship agreement, it will be unique to that particular territory, and the terms and conditions for that trustship agreement, it will be unique for that territory. So now whatever they talk say, they go also make sure say they look at any particular circumstances for each territory, get the freely expressed wishes of the peoples concerned, and as may be provided by the terms of each of the trusteeship of that territory where they talk about. So make una understand that now. So if you scroll down, you actually see where to the corner and say the repertory. Basically, this word, it comes from the word repertoire. Okay, so repertoire na English word. No mind it sound French, na actually English word as well. So if you go for this document name, you go look at the year, because the trusteeship agreement for the termination of the trustship agreement for the British Southern Cameroons, it be happening for 1961. So if you look at this one, volume 3, the supplement number 3, okay, and then you click on this PDF icon, you go download the document. If you download the document, you examine them, you go see the actual repertory of the Article 76 in action, how they don't implement them between the year 1959 to 1966, and now wait that way we will do them next. My country people them.
Lesson number 1. Lesson number 1. This particular video where country people do them. Now God sending me do the video. When I always see I say, oh, I want to, country people. Lesson number 1, my country people talk about it. Listen, whether or not you accept, my country people is a force to reckon with. Me, I agree. You listen to the video, it tells a lot of things. That's what my country people have told people. I'll play the video here. Wait. Very important. I'll start them back from the beginning. Muna here again.
So my country people them, why this one it be important? Now because the United Nations, according to Article 76B, if they prepare the former British Southern Cameroons for self-government, that is still in accordance with Article 76B. Nothing, no talk say they must prepare that territory for independence. It is either you prepare them for self-government or you prepare them for independence. And now why that way the British, they be deem say that territory no be viable for get full independence on its own. So now why that way they be give them the option for get self-government instead. So as West Cameroon, one of the federated states within the Federal Republic of Cameroon, those people, they go govern themselves. That is self-government. They not going to need an external body like the colonialists, the British or the French for administer that territory on their behalf. They will be able to self-govern. They will be able to make their own laws and all of those kind of things and elect their own leaders them. That is self-government. And as long as that territory, it gets self-government, Article 76B, it be achieved in its entirety. It be fully achieved. Because independence was only another option. If they not give you self-government, they will give you full independence. Or if they not give you full independence, they will give you just self-government. It still be an acceptable condition as far as Article 76B it be concerned. So make us stop for the confused what people them by changing this word and then start talk say and. No, they not talk say and, they say or. Self-government or independence. Okay, now one or the other one, not the two. Okay, so for my next presentation, I will actually read for Una the actual trusteeship agreement between the United Nations and the United Kingdom for the administration of the British Cameroons.
We thank my country people for the wonderful job. Now, we'll go ahead.
So my country people them, if we now download the document as I show you now the actual United Nations Charter Article 76, now in this, and Article 76B, now in this for here. So if we scroll up, you see and see this, so under Article 76B, now for here, 76B, see now Southern Cameroons section, that D, 76B, okay, part 2, and then D. If you go for paragraph 83 to 98, you go see where they write about termination of the trusteeship agreement with regards to Cameroons under United Kingdom administration. Now that section where it concern we. But if you scroll down, we'll go for page 2 of the Article 76. So they actually write the actual text of Article 76, where I just come for read and for una. Like I talked, the objective of the trusteeship system in accordance with blah, 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 further international peace and security, and then promote blah, 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 as I talk, serve government or independence. They no talk say serve government and independence. They talk say serve government or independence. So now the actual text of Article 76, now in that Part A, Part B, Part C, Part D. Now all this about Article 76 of the United Nations Charter. This is it. Now, the rest of the document, now how the actual Article 76 has been implemented. So if you continue reading the article or Article 76, it comes to this section for here. So now they talk about the analytical summary of the practice. Basically, how Article 76 has been put into practice for those years in review. Okay, so they tell now how Article 76A be put into practice, but now this one, Article 76B, where Anglophones they usually hang on top, they talk about, and because even for Resolution 1608, they specifically talk about Article 76B, where they talk about the question of the attainment by trust territories of self-government or independent. When I see they continue for the talk say or, they not talk say and. Self-government or independence. Okay. So now in this, if we now look at paragraph number 83, now in this, ma zoom am in me una fisiam. Now in that, they talk on for day. They say wait, termination of the trustship agreement with regards to the Cameroons under the United Kingdom administration. Termination. Once again, I ask Anglophones them, how was the trustship agreement terminated? What document shows you that the trustship agreement was terminated? Exchange of notes. Now the union treaty that. Okay, we'll continue. Make we read them. Okay, paragraph 83. For here, it talks the General Assembly by Resolution 1350 recommended that separate plebiscites should be held under the supervision of the United Nations in the northern and the southern parts of Cameroons under United Kingdom administration to ascertain the wishes of the inhabitants concerning their future. It recommended that the plebiscites in the northern part should take place in November 1959 and that the following question should be put to the people. A. Do you wish the northern Cameroons to be part of northern region of Nigeria when the Federation of Nigeria becomes independent? Or B. Are you in favor of deciding the future of the northern Cameroons at a later date? Now the two questions then that for 1959, where they be asked the people of the northern Cameroons. Now, paragraph 84. With respect to the southern part of the territory, the Assembly recommended that the plebiscite should be held during the next dry season between the beginning of December 1959 and the end of April 1960. It decided, however, that the alternatives to be put to the people and the qualifications for voting should be considered at the 14th session and hoped that all concerned in the territory would try to reach agreement on those questions before that session. So there was disagreement. Now, why that way they play around with dates? There was disagreement. Remember, we don't really tell when I say there was serious infighting in the former British Southern Cameroons. Okay, paragraph 85, they go on for talk say, a plebiscite in the northern part of Cameroon took place under the supervision of the United Nations on 7th of November 1959. The United Nations Plebiscite Commissioner reported to the Trustship Council at its 10th special session that 88% of the registered voters had voted and that of 62, those 62% were in favor of deciding the future of Northern Cameroons at a later date. The commissioner stated that he was satisfied that the plebiscite had been conducted by the administering authority with efficiency and impartiality, and that it had been held in an atmosphere of freedom. Okay, that one are Northern Cameroons, the go on, blah, 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 blah. If you fast forward, maybe we'll look at paragraph 89. They say, with regards to the Southern Cameroon statements made in the fourth committee by the representatives of the administering authority and by the premier of the Southern Cameroons, Mr. John Go Foncha, and the leader of the opposition in the Southern Cameroons House of Assembly, Dr. E.M.L. Ndele, indicated that the parties concerned had not been able to reach agreement on the alternatives to be put in the plebiscite or on the qualifications for the voting. Okay? So, like I don't tell you now, the infighting inside between the politicians for West Cameroon or the former British Southern Cameroons, it will be well known. Right at the United Nations, it was well known. They could not agree. They no be agree my country people them. And now the same sickness where Anglophones they get them till today. They get now how many presidents for Amberland or what will they call them for Facebook country? All man want be president. All man want me now your own idea. No man no one collaborate with another person. Now our sickness that now the root cause of our problem that. So when I see no me na me write am. Now United Nations document in this. They could not agree. So now they continue to say the premier and his party wanted Southern Cameroons to be separated from the Federation of Nigeria and the future of the territory determined at a later date. Furthermore, they maintain that only native-born inhabitants should take part in any plebiscite. Okay? But the leader of the opposition and his party, and Dr. Endele, considered that the choice should be between continuing as an autonomous or self-governing region in an independent Federation of Nigeria or seceding from Nigeria to effect unification with Republic of Cameroon, formerly the French-administered part of Cameroon. Okay, so they say the franchise, he argued, should include Nigerian and French Cameroonian inhabitants of the territory. So Dr. Endele talks for the plebiscite, he want make Nigerian people the way they stay inside the former British Southern Cameroons for vote, and even the Francophones the way they stay inside the British Southern Cameroons for vote. So because of that disagreement, they've even begged the United Nations, say, they extend the date for getting independence into the future. Make una understand the reality about our history. These people were not ready for independence. No wonder the British, they talk, say they were not viable. So una must join one or the other. They were not ready. They will fight amongst themselves. So, una hear now, they say, paragraph 90, they say, subsequently, however, the premier and the leader of the opposition issued an agreed statement to the effect that, subject to the agreement of the General Assembly, no plebiscite should be held in the Southern Cameroons in 1960, and that, pending settlement of its future, the Southern Cameroons should continue to be administered under the trustship agreement, but should be separated from the Federation of Nigeria no later than the 1st of October 1960, when the Federation would become independent. The wishes of the people as to their future should be ascertained in 1962, and the trustship agreement should be terminated no later than the 26th of October 1962. So, when I see, no, na me the talk, now the archives of the United Nations, John Go, Foncha, and Endele, they beg the United Nations, say me they extend the trustship agreement, they be want for remain under colonialism for a little bit longer because of their own disagreements them. They will give a date, 26th of October 1962. Remember, 26th October, they will celebrate them as Empire Day for Southern Cameroons. Say 26th of October 1962. But the United Nations was not prepared for that. The United Nations, in the end, when they come up with their resolution, as a matter of fact, make a read them. So, the talk say, paragraph 91 talks say, during the ensuing discussions, it was pointed out that implementation of that statement would give rise to many difficulties. Under the terms of the trustship agreement, the territory constituted a single entity. To decide the future of one part while leaving that of the other to a much later date might set a dangerous precedent. Ma explain which way the United Nations they talk for now. The United Nations they tell them say they get now one trustship agreement with the British for administer the British Cameroons. They don't get two agreement, now one agreement. Now the British they divide that territory into the Northern Cameroons and the Southern Cameroons. So they no fit terminate the trustship agreement with the Northern Cameroons and then leave the Southern Cameroons till a much later date, till 1962, for go decide their future. It no go work. Because now one trustship agreement for that one territory. It no be now two territories. Now one. The British Cameroons, now one territory. It include the Northern Cameroons and the Southern Cameroons. So the United Nations, they tell Dr. EML Endele and Jongo Foncha say, we no fit continue with the trustship agreement up to 1962, while we would terminate the trustship agreement for the Northern Cameroons for 1961, because it go set a dangerous precedent. Which means say it go start something where it could be difficult for we for continuum in the future. Okay, now make I continue for the read and for now make una understand how they arrive at this decision them. So they tell them say legal difficulties might also arise, since if one part of the territory ceased to be under the trustship, then either the trustship agreement itself, which applied to the whole of the territory, would have to be amended, or it would have to be terminated and a new agreement drawn up only for the Southern Cameroons. When I see the difficulties then way our own infighting in the former British Southern Cameroons, it caused the United Nations, because our forefathers them, Endele Foncha, they be fight, they never agree on how they go get their independence or who go even vote in the plebiscite. Because of their disagreements them, they be beg the United Nations now for continue the trustship agreement till October 1962. Now that the United Nations, they tell them, say, it no go work. Because if we get to terminate the trustship agreement with the Northern Cameroons, because the people of the Northern Cameroons, they will be them happy. They will be them ready for join Nigeria, for continue to live their life. And since they joined Nigeria for June 1961, they don't be happy. They live their life. They know they get the secessionism. They need to get the Buhaha way Anglophones, they cause them inside Cameroon. They did them okay. They did them fine. Okay? So they were happy. They were contented with their future. But the problem now were people, them, the Anglophones, the way that they fight amongst themselves. So now they ask, say, may the United Nations terminate the trustship agreement just for Northern Cameroons, but continue the trustship agreement for Southern Cameroons up to 1962. Now, here the United Nations, they tell them, say, it will not work. Either they could terminate the whole trustship agreement and then start a new trustship agreement just for the Southern Cameroons, or they could terminate the trustship agreement for Northern Cameroons and Southern Cameroons one time. Furthermore, the General Assembly had already decided at its 13th session that a plebiscite was to take place in the Southern Cameroons, and that the questions to be put and the qualifying for voting were to be decided at the current session. So postponement of the plebiscite would therefore involve revision of the General Assembly decision. Una see wahala, headache, where were parliamentarians, were leaders that they give United Nations because of their own infighting and inability for work together, and their because of their poor leadership and lack of coordination. Now wait that way they cause the United Nations. So paragraph 92 talks say, subsequently, the fourth committee approved by a roll call vote of 74 to none with 2 abstentions, a draft resolution which the premier and the leader of the opposition of the Southern Cameroon said they would accept as a compromise. So now the compromise is where the United Nations give them, say, it was later adopted by the General Assembly Resolution 1352. By that resolution, the Assembly decided that the arrangements for the plebiscite referred to in Resolution 1350 should begin on the 30th of September 1960, and that the plebiscite should be concluded not later than March 1961. It also recommended that the 2 questions to be put to the plebiscite should be, so A, do you wish to achieve independence by joining the Independent Federation of Nigeria, or B, do you wish to achieve independence by joining the Independent Republic of Cameroons? It also recommended that only persons born in the Southern Cameroons, or one of whose parents was born in the Southern Cameroons, should vote in the plebiscite. Finally, the Assembly recommended that the administering authority, in consultation with the government of the Southern Cameroons, should take steps to implement the separation of the administration of the Southern Cameroons from that of the Federation of Nigeria no later than the 1st of October 1960. So they tell the British, they now say, may they separate the administration of the Southern Cameroons from Nigeria before the 1st of October 1960. Why? Because the 1st of October 1960, now the date that way, Nigeria officially gained independence. So Nigeria not gain independence and where Southern Cameroons is still be part of Nigeria. So they tell the British, say, may they separate the two entities so that when Nigeria gain independence, it will gain independence on its own. Southern Cameroons no will be part of Nigeria. So that they could then decide the future of the people of Southern Cameroons for 1961 plebiscite, February the 11th. If we continue for the read the document, then you will see and say they actually talk and for them now. The talk say paragraph 94 talk say separate plebiscites were accordingly held under the United Nations supervision in the northern and the southern parts of the Trust Territory on the 11th to 12th of February 1961 and 11th of February 1961 respectively. So for 11th of February 1961 for Southern Cameroons, the 11th to the 12th of February 1961 for Northern Cameroons, okay? So now, if you fast forward, you see and say paragraph 95, it talks with respect to the Northern Cameroons, the commissioner reported that the total of the registered voters was this and that. As a result, as a matter of fact, I will let John Foncha explain for Una the results of the plebiscite himself. Una, listen.
And so they voted massively. And in the proportion of 233,751 for the Republic of Cameroon and only 97,741 for Nigeria. So that is democracy, because it was conducted by the United Nations. And at the end of the plebiscite, although the campaign was bigger and it was dictated that it was going to end in a bloodshed, it happened to be one of the most peaceful and orderly, respected, let's say, election we ever had.
So, Una don't hear John Foncha himself, he tell Una the results of the actual plebiscite as we, the Anglophones, then will vote massively for join the Republic of Cameroon on the 11th of February 1961. Over 233,000 people, they vote in favor of Cameroon, and only 97,000 something they vote in favor of joining Nigeria. Now the actual results that for the plebiscite. So for fast forward, we'll go now for the next page. Now what will happen next after the plebiscite? We'll come now, the General Assembly, they remind, we say we'll get resolution 1608, where it set the modalities for the termination of the trust territories in the following manner. Say A, with respect to the Northern Cameroons on the 1st of June 1961 upon its joining of the Federation of Nigeria. Part B, it talks with respect to the Southern Cameroons on the 1st of October 1961 upon its joining the Republic of Cameroon. That's how the trustship agreements were terminated. And then remember, as I don't tell you, paragraph 5 of the resolution 1608 say finally the assembly invited the administering authorities, the government of Southern Cameroons and the Republic of Cameroon, to initiate urgent discussions with a view to finalizing before the 1st of October 1961 the arrangement. So they are finalizing the arrangements and the agreed policies by which the union it will happen. They are not finalizing the union. The union will happen on the 1st of October, whether you like it or not. Now, when I go down, get urgent discussions, okay, with a view of finalizing those arrangements then before the 1st of October 1961, because now the date that way the joining, it will happen. Understand that, like they talk, they invited, it was an invitation. If they invite you for something, you feel go, or you decide you know go. Paragraph 98, it be very important because it tell when I say it, when I read them, it say, the Northern Cameroons accordingly on the 1st of June 1961 joined the Federation of Nigeria as a separate province of the Northern region. Okay, now, the Southern Cameroons became an integral part of the Republic of Cameroon on 1st of October 1961. Now, no mean the exact word this way, me, I don't use them for una. It has been integrated into Cameroon, which means that the sovereignty of Southern Cameroons is inside Cameroon. Southern Cameroons became an integral part of the Republic of Cameroon on the 1st of October 1961. Those where the Waka lie Anglophones them, Waka deceive them, Waka manipulate them. The talk say the union was not completed or the United Nations to come and do decolonization or whatever nonsense. Either they are woefully misguided or deliberately manipulating the Anglophone population. So for page 3 of this document, you could see I'm saying the talk say under General Survey, paragraph 7, wait there for here. Wait till they talk. Ma read them for una. Okay, una bear with me. Now paragraph 7, that from here all the way down. So paragraph 7, the talk say 7 trust territories attained independence or joined independent states during the period under review, and the General Assembly, in agreement with the administering authorities concerned, terminated the trustship agreements. The Cameroons, under the French administration, became an independent state on 1st of January 1960, as envisaged in General Assembly, blah, 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 blah. So now they go on for talk say, it became the Republic of Cameroon and became a member of the United Nations according to Resolution 1476. Okay? Now, they continue. They talk say, according to, and with Somaliland, now wait that will happen, blah, 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 blah. And then they talk say, as regards the Cameroons under United Kingdom administration, the Northern Cameroons joined the Federation of Nigeria on 1st of June 1961. They joined, whether you like it or not. And then while the Southern Cameroons joined the Republic of Cameroon on 1st of October 1961, as envisaged in the General Assembly Resolution 1608. Okay? So, they joined, whether you like it or not. Anglophones una fit scream, go up, calm down, una cry, roll for potopoto, make noise, throw a tantrum. The United Nations recognizes that the former British Southern Cameroons joined. And I'm show una again for this paragraph 7 where I tell una for up here. They say wait, 7 trust territories attained independence or joined independent states during the period under review, and the General Assembly, in agreement with the administering authorities concerned, terminated. They terminated the trustship agreements. The trustship agreement between the United Kingdom and the United Nations for the administration of the former British Southern Cameroons was terminated on the 1st of October 1961. It was terminated. And how was it terminated? Simple. Exchange of notes between the British government and President Amadou Ahidjo in Yaoundé on the 27th of September 1961. That is how the trustship agreement was terminated. How else would I want? The United Nations be clear. They say, I'll read them again. As regards the Cameroons under UK administration, the Northern Cameroons joined the Federation of Nigeria on the 1st of June 1961. They joined. While the Southern Cameroons joined the Republic of Cameroon on 1st of October 1961. So, wait till when I want to talk again. Now, United Nations documented this, that they talk, say they join. And then you go get Cameroonians, they can't talk, say, the joining was not finalized. The joining, that is like your opinion. According to the United Nations, it was final. It was finalized. So for the next presentation, I will bring for you the actual trustship agreement. We'll go read them together so that we'll go advance our knowledge together. Thank you plenty my contribute them. We'll share.